Without confession, I have read Pride and Prejudice about 200 times. I get lost in the language, words like thither, mischance, felicity. I'm always in agony over whether Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy are really going to get together. Read it. I know you'll love it.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of Just a Couple of Guys with your host, the always fighting for truth, justice, and the American way.
That's correct.
Our guy, Pat Crimmins.
Thank you.
Yours truly, Ray Rogina. Now in our third season where we're still talking
Everything.
That's right, everything. And Pat, it's a quiet April afternoon, and we're in front of a St. Charles institution, Townhouse Books.
Very close to the barber shop where I need to get a haircut, but my barber's having a piece removed or replaced.
Well, there's a replacement in the barber shop to take care of your hair while he's gone.
So I look like this, and then I tell people I parked my DeLorean outside.
Very nice.
You know the movie.
Meanwhile, back to the subject of books. You know, Cicero, the philosopher, said a room without books is like a body without a soul. Right. Now, I'm not sure I agree with that completely, but I'll ask you the question. When you're in a room that has books, do you feel a little bit more invigorated?
Oh, I love books. I love libraries. I was on the library board for 6 years.
That's right. That's your only elected position.
My only elected position. That's correct.
But that's actually, all kidding aside, it's a noble elected position to be on the library board in your community because books describe a community. Books, a community that likes books.
The story of our lives.
It is.
Yes.
And so it's really a privilege today to be have an opportunity to have a podcast at Townhouse Books with none other than the owner of said institution, David Hunt.
David Hunt?
A classmate of yours.
Classmate of Karen Campbell Porter's.
And yours.
1979, yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
And you guys are looking good for being over 60.
There's a big party coming up, a reunion of sorts.
But David's going to be here to talk about the history of this place, what he's done since he's taken over the last number of years, and all kinds of things related to one of our favorite topics, and I might speak for Pat on that, books. And so we'll take a commercial break, and we'll be right back after this word from one of our fine sponsors. You stay tuned.
Tony, your parents know you're over here again, right?
Yep.
Great.
Tony lives next door. See, his parents decided to just use their phone for home internet. So when everyone is on, Tony's over here streaming and drinking all my soda.
My dog.
Switch to fast internet on the Xfinity 10G network today. The future starts now.
We're going to bed, Tony.
Good night. I'll lock up if I leave.
Get real home internet on the next generation 10G network only from Xfinity.
Hello, friends. This is Ray Rogina, and golf season is here. So I want to tell you, golfers out there, about the city of Elgin's 3 great golf courses. Elgin has become a premier destination for thousands of golfers throughout the region. The combined collection of 36 holes between Bowes Creek Country Club and the Highlands of Elgin provide golfers with an adventure through a variety of unique golf holes in beautiful settings. And if you're looking for a classic yet sporty 9-hole golf course, Wing Park Golf Course is perfect for you. Established in 1908, it is the oldest 9-hole municipal golf course in Illinois. This superior golf course offers something for everyone. Expert players with hours to spare, or the amateur just beginning to learn their swing, will all enjoy a wonderful day at any of our Elgin golf courses. Well, we're back, and as promised, we're going to talk to the owner of Townhouse Books, David Hunt, a friend, a former student, and in fact, if I may, a point of personal privilege, I'm talking to 2 guys here, my partner Pat and David, who are both members of the class of 1979 of St. Charles High School. And so they've, Pat actually set this up, and First of all, David, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you very
It's
much.
good
I
to have you here.
appreciate
Thank you,
it.
David. Thanks.
And a point of location, we are in the Townhouse Cafe,
The cafe.
which is right adjacent to the bookstore, and we'll be talking about the cafe.
Smell of coffee.
Smell of coffee,
And
wafy,
books.
wafy, and books. We always start with, traditionally with any guest by having the audience learn a little bit about your background. Let's just go back, high school, college, and beyond.
Okay.
And it leads to you taking over here.
Sure, I can do that hopefully in a nutshell. I was born just a few blocks from here actually on 3rd Avenue and went to school all through the St. Charles district and went to high school. St. Charles went with St. Charles High School, not East.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for
So-
saying that.
And actually, Mr. Ogina, now I call Ray, was one of my teachers, taught business law, and graduated in 1979, went to St. Olaf College for 4 years, graduated, and that's up in Minnesota, Northfield, Minnesota. Graduated and thought I was going to student teach, but decided against going that route. And then I went to France for a year, came back, got into business with my brothers and my dad selling textiles. We called ourselves rag peddlers, and sold furniture manufacturers for years. And then jumping ahead, they all wanted to go off and do something else with a concrete block business with my dad, and I didn't want to do that. So I actually walked into Townhouse Books because it had been a lifelong dream of mine to have a local business, specifically a bookstore. And this was my bookstore growing up, and I walked in to talk to Mary Lou Kelly, who was the founder and owner of Townhouse Books. And I said, Mrs. Kelly, if you ever wanted to sell the bookstore, would you consider talking to me? And she said, oh, that's not going to happen. You know, I have no plans to sell the bookstore. And I said, well, that's fine, thank you. She called me the next week after talking to her husband. He told her she was crazy. Why don't you sell the bookstore, not be financially responsible for it, but make it a condition that you stay on? And it was perfect for me because I didn't have a background in selling books, but I loved books. And so she kind of taught me the ropes, stayed on for what was supposed to be 1 year, ended up being 10.
And I told David offline that Mary Lou Kelly was one of the 2 Mary Lou's in this town. When I first came to town, I really got to like a lot. Mary Lou Kelly, owner of Townhouse Books, Mary Lou Kearns, the county coroner. But they were both wonderful women. He's absolutely correct in his description of her. She was a charming woman, and God rest her soul. In any event, you mentioned reading. You wanted a bookstore to be part of you moving forward. Where did you get that love of books?
You know, it started early. As a kid, like any kid, liked to read, classics and Hardy Boys and all those kind of books. Then I have to admit, there was kind of a dry spell for me in junior high where I wasn't really in love with reading. And then, like in 9th grade, I picked up Dickens' David Copperfield and read it and just fell in love with the whole idea of reading and the rags to riches, the underdog winning, and I just became obsessed. And then I couldn't stop reading. So I'm kind of a late bloomer, but I've been reading ever since.
You talked about the fact that you bought this place off of Mary Lou Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk a bit about the building itself, the origins of Townhouse Books, this building, how old it is, and then the cafe as well.
Sure. The building itself was built in 1853, and it was the home of Clinton Wing, who was the second mayor of St. Charles, and it was his townhome. So I think Mary Lou decided to call it Townhouse Books because it was a townhome. It was one of the first structures built in this area. So it was a residence for many, many years, and then became an antique store, I believe, and a beauty salon. And then when Mary Lou bought it in 1974, she thought St. Charles needs a bookstore. Every community needs a bookstore. So she didn't have any experience with it. Flew by the seat of her pants, opened in 74, and it was a bookstore until, well, it still is. And I bought it from her in 1992, and at that time, 𝐂𝐨 Cafe was in this space. There were 2 separate buildings,
Okay.
and you had to go outside to enter. And so in 1992, 𝐂𝐨 stayed in for a few years, and then in 96 or 95, we did the renovation, connected the 2 buildings, kind of brought out enlarged the kitchen and enlarged the cafe. And I just had never opened a restaurant before, but I got a lot of help and a lot of advice from people on design and what kind of, I knew I wanted it to be a literary theme. I knew I wanted to complement the bookstore, and little did I know what I was getting into, because restaurants are really tough to run. It took me many years to figure out, but I think we've come to a really good place right now. Sure. We have 25 employees between the bookstore and the cafe.
About 25.
25, yeah, about 20 in the cafe and 5, including me, in the bookstore. And Doug and I are co-owners, so Doug is really responsible for the, Doug is my husband, Doug Bella, he runs the cafe part of it, and I run the bookstore, along with Heidi and Sarah and Julie. And Doug has Jill as a main backup for him.
Now, earlier Doug said that the cafe is kicking the bookstore in the butt,
I would say so.
Revenue.
Doug came on in 2001.
High markup on food.
Right. Doug came on in 2001, and he was desperately trying to get out of the restaurant business. At that point, he was managing Maison Sabika in Naperville and helped open a restaurant. And
Is that right?
Yeah, so he had enough with restaurants, but then when we looked at this opportunity of looking at this as a business together, co-owners, he brought his expertise, and through the years, he's really the reason why the cafe is as successful as it is, and it's been a project for both of us.
Well, I think the whole town has benefited from the fact that you left the cement business and you went into books, right? With respect to just the bookstore itself, can you tell me a little bit about, if you were going to describe the bookstore to somebody from, Montana or something, what kind of books do you have? What's your demographic? What specialty do you have in terms of books, if any?
Sure. We would be considered a general independent bookstore, meaning we carry books of all types, fiction, nonfiction, children's books, cookbooks, journals and calendars and limited gifts. But really, our demographic, our customers are wide ranging. It used to be we would mostly attract women, reading fiction, and people would come into the cafe kind of like more of a coffee shop or ladies eat lunch kind of place, but it's really evolved to really attract all ages and all types of people. So in the bookstore, it's an old building, and every door, window, and wall is filled with books. So it doesn't seem like it's a real organization. It's just every room is stuffed with books. Even the fireplace has books.
So there's no rhyme or reason.
Well, we do have
literature.
Sections. Yeah, we do have sections, but it's not easy to navigate that or find them out because each room is cut up.
Right, I understand. I was trying to do some research here, and in terms of demographics, I saw young people and I saw older people.
Yeah.
And in terms of the cafe, I saw the same thing. I didn't see too many people in the 40s. It was either younger or older.
That's changing more and more now. I see a lot of guys who work together in their 40s, 50s, or whatever, want to take their lunch break and they stand in line to have lunch here. So it really is, and I'm glad we've seen a lot of more young people come out. A lot of people young people love to support independent.
They say it's a business, but it sounds to me like, based on this conversation you two had, you really have no target market. You're not out to target anybody in particular, right?
Not really. Just people who love books and good food.
You would agree with me that a place like this can't survive unless there's somebody here like yourself who has a passion for small business, for your community, and for books, right?
I think that's true, but it's not just me. Obviously, and this is not just false humility, but I've got people, employees in both the cafe and the bookstore who've been here for 20, 25 years. People want to stick around because they like it here, and everybody loves this community. Everybody loves the store.
Sure.
We were talking offline about the fact that most businesses, and we've asked several businesses and asked several city officials, what about the pandemic and what did that do here? And I watched that clip you had on Fox News, and I thought you were very articulate in describing the problems with it and the opportunity that it did create. Talk to us a little about that, because if you were like anyone else in business here, it was really a tough hit.
It was a tough hit, and no one was ready for it. We weren't, and no one else. But really, it taught us to kind of think in new ways and pivot, and to really reimagine what we wanted to do. Fortunately, we had enough help to keep the employees. We didn't have to. Of course, we had pay from our own pockets to keep the employees. We also got government help to buy us a little bit of time. So we went from being open every day to doing curbside service to just trying to function in a new way to survive, and then that kind of built and redefined the way we do business too. Like we changed some of the ways we do things. We never used to sell online. We never could have imagined selling books online 5 years ago, competing with Amazon or anything like that. We thought we were a brick and mortar store, and that's our identity. That's really what we want to do. When the pandemic hit, it was coincidental that we were able to be a part of an organization called bookshop.org, which is a kind of a consortium, a group of independent bookstores. There are over 1,000 of them that you can order from us online, and we get a percentage of the sales. But we never really handle the sale of the book. We never have the book. We don't have to purchase the book. We don't have to inventory the book. It goes directly to your home, and we get a portion of those sales. It allowed us, now we have customers in over 40 states that can order online instead of Amazon and have their books shipped directly to them, and we have the money show up in our bank account. It's amazing.
We're going to take a small break, but let's pursue that issue with him a little bit further. When we come back, we're also going to talk about the cafe menu, what you offer here, and so on and so forth. I know Pat and I both want to get your take on who are the hot authors now, and what kinds of books do you personally like to read? And then we're going to take a little walk around here and see what the nooks and crannies have to offer.
Terrific.
Commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
3, 2, 1. Very good.
All right.
You want to get around too much? Or?
Perfect. Okay, perfect. Very well. So, as far as coming back is concerned, books that are hot. We're going to push this online a little bit. This is intriguing, and I think because Pat wants to talk about the future of bookstores, the whole issue of Amazon, like you say, versus Barnes and Noble's still going strong over in the Geneva Commons. You're still here, doing well, and there's something to be said about the personality of a bookstore, and we want to get into all that. And we'll talk about the cafe, and then any promotional events or whatever. And then, Paul, how do you want to handle that as far as taking a little walk around the place? Do we want to break on that and say, sure?
I don't think we need to. In fact, I think you can just say, you want to take a quick walk? Walk around? And he'll say, yeah. And then I'll just cut to when we're I got it. So I'll just cut directly.
That's what Kevin does. Kevin just does his own tour. Yeah. And makes it a part of it. But
that works. I got it. Let's take a walk.
I have an idea. I wanted to talk about.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Let me guess. It has something to do with the first plaza.
Oh, my plaza.
The plaza. Okay, so we're gonna bring the books. We're gonna get the singers.
Stacks and stacks.
Stacks of books.
And he got some props he wants to bring in.
He seems nervous. You wouldn't think he would be.
Now, any guy who hung out to dry on the Norris Cultural Arts stage on a cross is Jesus Christ. I never forget that. Jesus Christ Superstar. He was Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow. He brought some props. That's good. All right.
Okay, so you ready to go?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Go.
We're back, and as promised, with David Hunt, we're going to talk a bit about the books that are hot from his perspective, and maybe Pat and I can talk a bit about the ones that we like and whether or not our favorite authors are best sellers. What's hot right now?
There's so much that's hot. I mean, this David Grand book, The Wager, if you know Killers of the Flower Moon. Which was a terrific book and a terrific movie too, but this is his latest, and he's a great storyteller. He takes real events in history and really makes them come to life. It's really great. The Covenant of Water is by Abraham Lucchese. He was made famous with Cutting for Stone, but that was more than 10 years ago, and this is his newest, and again, just great storyteller.
I see Oprah's giving a nod to that.
Oh yeah.
Once you get the seal from Oprah, it's all over.
I don't always agree with that, but a lot of times she's right on.
Now, Dave, I have an idea for you. You know, there are books on tape and everything.
Yeah.
I'm thinking books on Ray. See, Ray reads books on like a YouTube channel, just on a loop. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I think you've done this at Christmas time, haven't you, Ray?
Just for the organization in town, for the North.
For the people.
For the people,
yeah.
yes. I read it night before Christmas.
And you would have to pay union dues, but I think
I tell you,
an idea.
I never used to like to listen to books on tape or audio books, but I've been doing it more and more. And really, the difference is the voice, the person who's reading, and what better voice than Ray's to read.
Right.
Resonant and.
Well, it's very kind of you. I would only say that I have never listened to a book on tape.
Really?
I can't.
I
For some
never
reason, but a lot of people, they swear by it.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, I've been involved with King-Lin and things like that.
The library board in Elmer.
But some people have trouble reading and comprehending.
Sure.
But when they hear it, it's a different kind of
That's a great
experience.
point, and my guess is that I would benefit from listening.
Sure.
Well, for me, it's really useful because I can do it while I'm folding laundry or in the car.
So all that time you used to listen to the White Sox, you can listen to the book.
Please, don't be bringing that up this summer. I'm taking a gap year from the White Sox.
Yeah.
Listen, I got a few names,
Sure.
and Pat can mention his as well, but I want you to, I mentioned these authors, and just say, we sell a lot. Baldacci,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Grisham,
Yes.
Stephen King,
Still do, yeah, absolutely.
Bob Woodward, when he puts one out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
How about George Will?
Not so much in our store. I mean, we have some people who will buy it, but I think he's written it recently. But
I think you wrote a book on conservatism. That's the last one.
Right.
It's very well done. And last but not least, a historian, Pat's alley, Doris Kearns.
oh yes, yeah, she's got a new one.
Yes, I'm reading it right now.
Yeah,
I'm reading it right now.
every time she's on TV talking, I want to listen close. She's a bright, smart lady.
Why don't you tell our audience, it's very important here, since you've already brought it up, how they may go about just dealing with buying a book from you on your website?
You can go to our website, and you can go to our website, townhousebooks.com, or you can go to bookshop.org. And what's good about bookshop.org is that you can support us, which we hope you do, but you can also support other independent bookstores throughout the country. And without living there, you can buy a book, have it come to you, and it'll benefit that store. So
I know
spread the love.
Pat's got several questions about the cafe and then looking at the future here, but my only other question to you with regard to your business, do you have, as a business owner, do you have short-term and long-term goals?
Well, it's through the years we've done different things. I know that's not your question, but it used to be that we were open 7 days a week and open at nights and things like that. We've really focused on being a daytime place and focus on lunch for the cafe and for the bookstore to be open 6 days a week. And to be profitable while having some kind of free time for ourselves. Like we're not open on Sundays anymore. And I know some people are not so happy with that decision, but financially we haven't suffered from doing that, and boy, it's a lot easier for us to staff and to have one day to kind of regroup, and so that's really good.
And a shameless plug for his free time, he is a member of the St. Charles Singers and does a lot of work there as well, so he needs some extra time.
The oldest.
Yeah, I am
the oldest.
One of the two oldest.
The longest tenure, I believe, is what they
I like that. I like longest tenure rather than oldest.
Well, I just a few other questions here, Dave, about the bookstore itself. Is it me, or are local bookstores like yours kind of taken off a little bit? And have become kind of a little hit, as it were, as opposed to not surviving?
I think it's true.
Yeah.
Fortunately, and I think a lot of it is because there's a trend, especially with younger people now, to buy local, to support local independent businesses. Even the trend to go from ebooks is like people are wanting to actually touch the book. And
There's
buy
something to the touching, the smelling, the tasting,
Absolutely.
and the, that kind of
You're
thing,
right.
right? I mean, people like to shop. And this idea of shopping on the internet, I think is kind of dispassionate.
Right. And what's interesting too is that young people are coming in and looking for what I consider a new genre, and that's romance. You think of romance as being like the Harlequin, bodice whipper things. No. Romance now is really a very, very growing genre for young people. Basically, they're just love stories, mostly with happy endings, but with interesting plots and characters. It's really developed into quite a thing.
Fiction.
It's fiction, yeah.
No,
If I may, just
I got.
All right.
Ray and I were talking offline. You can never have enough romance. Did you say that?
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you ever have somebody come in here and they're looking for you to give them advice on a book or books?
That is one of the most gratifying things, I would say. It's not just me. If you look around the store, you'll see little recommends that we've written, and one of the best things that I love to have happen during the day is if someone walks in the store I recognize, maybe it's been a few months, and they'll come up to me and they say, "You recommended a book to me a few months ago." And I'm standing there waiting, oh gosh.
It changed my
I
life.
hope you liked it. I was like, that was the worst thing. No. 9 times out of 10, it'll be like, I love that book. Will you tell me a similar book? Show me something like that. I would love it. That happens every day. That's what makes the joy of this. But it happens with Sarah or Julie or Heidi or other people too. You get to know each other's tastes, and then
It's like the winery. There's a sommelier
Mhm.
that tells you a little bit about wine. That's what we want here when we come. We want a little something about books. What's hot, what's not.
Well, and clearly, as opposed to your point about the internet, in a bookstore, and particularly, with due respect to Barnes and Noble, and they have a lot of offering, and they provide a service. The old Borders, I enjoyed going to the Borders. I love Borders. But at the end of the day, there is something about, and we're going to take a look at this in a second, but there is something about coming into a place like this with the nooks and crannies and immersing yourself for a while. By the way, I don't think, I'll let David talk. I don't think walking into a bookstore, I don't think walking into a bookstore means 5 minutes.
No.
Can I assume that people come in here, maybe the average time is 15 minutes to half an hour?
yeah.
And maybe longer, but
Maybe longer, but yeah. It's
How many
rarely-
times, Dave, do you have to run them out? You have to, because you've had enough.
No, it doesn't happen. And they don't come in a bad mood. That's what I love about retail and this book business. They come in looking for a book. They really get crabby.
It's a
about it.
very calming atmosphere, isn't it?
oh, no question about that. No question.
There's no doubt about that. And one more, if I could, about the bookstores. In terms of this bookstore, do you have any promotional events coming up?
Yeah, we do.
throughout the summer and stuff?
Well, this is coming up a week from this coming Saturday is Independent Bookstore Saturday, and so we have busloads of people that are going to be traveling all throughout the Chicago area and stopping off at more than 30 bookstores.
Wow. It's
And-
like a bar hop.
Yeah, it is. And they get a stamp at each place, and we have a raffle. And the winner will win a $100 gift certificate. So each store is really promotional, but it's really
See, now you promoted our question.
yeah.
You have dealt with, and you're probably friends with, a number of independent bookstore owners.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not here trying to take business away from you, but if you could, in the Chicago area, if you could name a bookstore that in your mind is the model, the independent bookstore, the model, other than Townhouse Books, obviously,
Mhm.
where might that be at?
Boy, there's so many. There's
I know, but I'm just
Women and Children First is a really great bookstore in Chicago. Harvey's Tales. I just met, believe it or not, the owners of Harvey's Tales in Geneva yesterday when they dropped a
I don't
promotion.
even know where that is.
That's a great small. Geneva hasn't had a bookstore in years after Robbins closed, and then Harvey's
What's problem? There's a thing about the
Yeah.
past.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, let me ask this question. Will you take Pat and I around here and show us a
So
little bit?
let's ask a few questions about the cafe.
Oh,
Just to
wow.
set the scene a little bit. You talked a little bit about how you got the cafe and how it was Al's before or something. When did you start the cafe? What was the year?
In 1996.
1996. And the fare is generally what?
Well, we have homemade soups,
Oh.
sandwiches, we roast our own meats, we make all our own desserts, salad dressings and everything. So it's soups, salads, sandwiches, and we're open for lunch 6 days a week, and then quiches and continental breakfast in the morning. So
Nice.
And make a reservation, because if you don't and you just try to be cute about it, you're gonna wait for 40 minutes.
Well,
and only because the people who made the reservation were smart.
Yeah.
They understand the quality that's here.
I came here to do some research, and I was 40 minutes, and I just didn't have that kind of time.
when we open the back patio, it
I
helps.
was gonna ask that question. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's beautiful, like a European kind of setting in the back patio. We have at least 10 tables out there, so it almost doubles our seating capacity.
Oh.
It's really great with umbrellas and a brick courtyard and trees, and it's really
So
lovely.
what are the hours for breakfast and lunch?
Okay, the cafe opens at 9 o'clock and serves continental breakfast till 11, and full service lunch service from 11 to 3, and then from 3 to 4 we stay open serving wine and desserts and coffee.
Nice. Well, it's a fabulous day. You've done a wonderful job here.
Thank you.
Ray and I want to walk around and just look at things and let the people see
Sounds great.
the magic you've created.
All right, let's take a walk.
All right.
Wood County Cougars are back for the summer. The best family entertainment around features sunshine, baseball, and fireworks through Labor Day. With great food, entertainment, giveaways, and running the bases after every game, there's something for everyone at a Cougars game. Thirsty Thursdays feature $2 beer, pop, and hot dogs. And on Sunday day games, a $15 ticket gets you $15 right back in concessions at the ballpark. Visit us at beautiful Northwestern Medicine Field this summer and make your family memories today.
Hello, friends. This is Ray Rogina. Are you looking for the place to be? Voted best live music and entertainment venue by the Daily Herald in 2023? That would be Old Republic in Elgin, an indoor-outdoor hub with classic American eats, beer, and cocktails, plus the best sports bar, burgers, wings, and ribs. Best value? Old Republic. Another good place to be. What do we call this room here?
Well, we used to call it the garden room, but we moved the garden books. So now we have cookbooks and some journals and greeting cards, as you can see. And you can note the tin ceiling is original to the building.
Yes.
53 is a beautiful tin ceiling.
Pat, that's my next birthday card down here.
Your next one?
Yes.
December?
Yeah.
So
Got some
moving
time.
on. This is our entry. This is where we keep, our John Grisham, Patterson, and the impulse buys right here.
James Patterson.
And
Turns one out about every week.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does.
and
Prolific
our
is the word.
And our travel section is in here, and featuring some children's books, but this is just a tease because we've got 2 rooms with children's books back there.
Yes.
Let's walk through here if we could. Here we have some armchair travel. Really, people love France. So Francophiles in Paris books are here. And reference, gardening books are here. Science.
Note to Pat, gardening.
Yes.
Yes.
And so science section, business. And then we have a small section of used books that people donate. Bring in a couple of boxes and we just.
Is that right?
Mark
So
them,
they can donate here.
Yeah, just $1 or $5 per book. So it's.
I took all my books to the library and donated them.
And I think we're getting into politics and history.
Yeah, we're getting into history and politics and biography. One of my favorite authors is Eric Larson.
Oh,
He's
Devil in the White City.
and Dead Wake.
Now, what's Dead Wake about?
This is about the Lusitania.
Okay.
So Eric Larson takes real events in history and makes a novel out of them. I mean, he tells the truth, but he makes it like a story.
The Devil in the White
Comes to
City is a
like Devil-
masterpiece. Of
Devil in the
that.
White City, Dead Wake. He's written so many good books. And Civil War and American history.
Pat cannot get enough Lincoln, right, Pat?
Lincoln is, well, he happens
We
to
have
be
a
very
whole,
important.
whole section of Lincoln here in Civil War.
There you go.
So moving on.
Look at it. Keep more nooks, more crannies.
Yeah, that's what I said. So, our new hardcover fiction.
This is all fiction. Oh, there he is. Great book. Holly.
Yep.
Stephen King.
New
What's it
hardcover
about,
fiction
Ray?
in mystery.
Holly. Holly's a do-gooder from a previous
Marriage.
no, previous book.
And books on writing language. So that's. Speaking of Stephen King, he has a book on writing that he's a writer's writing. People who are authors really respect the guy, and so he has a textbook on
Have you
writing.
ever visited his by his home in Maine?
No.
Oh, my. Spiders on the fence.
So make our way towards the children's room, which
Yes.
on a busy day is full of kids on the floor with their parents reading books.
Do you read books in here to the kids?
We've had story times.
Oh, you've had story
Oh
times?
yeah.
That's cute.
Yes,
Right.
indeed. Look at all that.
Story time, Ray.
Instead of wallpapering, we took a bunch of old children's books and just got stapled them to the wall.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So that is about it as far as the,
Compact, quaint,
Yep.
succinct.
Mm-hmm.
Smells like books. Great smell. Great smell.
Well, we're back, and in one of the nooks
What
or
a cranny.
cranny.
What's the difference between the two, do you know?
I don't know. But all I know is this place has been a favorite place of mine in over 5 decades since I came to St. Charles. He mentioned the fact that it became Townhouse Books in '74. That was my first year that I moved into the community. I started teaching a couple years before, but I moved into the community, and in here all the time. And as I said before, Mary Lou Kelly, just a peach of a woman. She just was wonderful, and he's carried on her legacy very nicely.
Yeah, you know, I was a kid, 13 years old, I think, and I used to walk by because I was carrying my clubs to Potawatomi.
That's right.
So I golfed every day. I always walked by here. I love bookstores. I put my clubs down, come in a few times.
You know what the most satisfying thing, and you asked the question, the most satisfying thing I gleaned today is the fact that independent bookstores are not dead.
No.
And yes, the internet, we didn't get into pricing and all of that stuff, as far as how they take a $30 suggested list price for a book and sell it for $18 or $19. There he is, by the way, Scott Turtle. But he didn't get into all of that. But the fact of the matter is, what you said, people still want the brick and mortar.
Right.
They really want to come in here, touch it,
Taste
grab
it.
it, taste it,
Yep.
maybe read an excerpt of it,
Right,
read the
exactly.
review, whatever the case may be. And that's why I think a place like this is going to go on infinitum
Let's
for a
hope
long,
so.
long time.
Because like this morning when we talked about culture, art, music, books. Right?
are,
Oh, my.
and all of the communities up and down the valley have wonderful libraries.
Right.
And some, like St. Charles and Geneva specifically, basically, Geneva built a new one, and St. Charles just added on. And the library in Elgin is well renowned, and I go on and on.
Let's
and
not
on.
forget Town and Country in Elburn.
Well, that's right. Did you help make it what it is today?
I wouldn't say that. I helped.
Well, you were an elected official, though.
I helped with the referendum to keep it
There you
open,
go.
and I served for 6 years.
And I might also add, as far as the libraries are concerned, almost all these libraries have foundations and that you can donate to. And so when you start to do your laundry list of places to donate, to me, supporting the printed word in your community is right at the top of the list.
Well, it's like anything else. You want to buy local, right? You want to keep places like Townhouse Books up and running. You gotta come in and spend some money.
And not only that, but you can come in and have a nice meal too.
Nice
Their
meal?
food is wonderful. He described it, but if you've had a lunch here, or I have not had the breakfast, but if you had a lunch here it's top drawer.
That sounds good. Sounds good.
Well, it's time for us to, speaking of lunch, actually it's dinner time. It's late afternoon here on a beautiful April day, and
we've had quite a day.
We have, and so it's
Class
time.
of 1979 running through it like a river. Oh, there is a river.
I can almost see it from here. So I think it's time to say goodbye.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Why don't you tout our producer? I always do that. It's time for you to do that.
The what should we say? What should we call
it? Don't steal my words. You do your own. These are the credits now. We're giving credits.
I don't want to put him in a bad situation.
And then
we'll say he is. No, I don't want to do that.
Right.
So I'm gonna...
For our crack producer, again, owner of Fox Valley Magazine,
yes.
and keeping it simple, a world traveler. We've come to discover a world traveler these days. We'll keep it at that. But we know he's going to be on a mission here momentarily. We're going to miss him while he's gone.
Let's not use the word mission.
Well, we're gonna miss him while he's gone, but we wish him safe journey while he's gone, and we want him back here in time for the baseball season.
And please know that the podcast, if it need be, will continue.
That's right.
If you want to find something
with our crack cinematographer Kevin Ketchum, and for my trusted, there's a new word, trusted partner. And we're talking about my trusted partner, who we're talking about taking the podcast on the road.
We had a discussion.
We had a conversation about that today too.
Not just on the road, but across the pond.
Well, I'm very excited about that possibility. Yeah. So, can you imagine Pat Crimmins, my trusted partner in Ireland? Stay tuned on that one. For Pat Crimmins, Ray Rogina, wishing you all a pleasant weekend. And May is upon us, as I said this morning. It's coming faster than we think. Be safe. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your family. Enjoy life. From Townhouse Books on 2nd Avenue in beautiful St. Charles, Illinois. Pat and Ray, just a couple of guys. So long, everyone.
I wonder who wrote the book of love? Tell me, who wrote the book of love? I've got to know the answer. Was it someone from above? I wonder who wrote the book of love?